everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess, and today I'm going to be going over the Marie's brand paint markers. This is a Chinese brand of art supplies, and I bought these off of TEMU. And I actually have a smaller set. I have a 48 set that I bought before, and I like them so much that I went ahead and got the biggest set that they offer, which is the 60 set. So these are probably one of the most affordable paint markers that I have found for the quantity. I believe it was around $17 or $18 for this 60 pack of paint markers. I did get these off of TEMU because I have been wanting to make a series of different art supplies that I've gotten off of there and review for you guys, because it is affordable, but it's also kind of like sketchy with some stuff, so I'm not entirely sure like if it's really worth your money or if it's really worth buying stuff off of there. But today's topic is paint markers. So previous to these, my favorite type of paint marker is the Sharpie Creative markers. I do have a full-length review of these markers on my channel from like months ago. It was one of my first videos that I published on here, but I really like these markers. They're very nice quality, they're very opaque, very easy to use, all of that kind of thing. The only issue that I have with them is that they're a little bit expensive. It was around $20 for 12 of them. I believe it was only 12 of them for $20. So that's kind of a lot, especially when you compare it to the Marie's brand, where I'm getting 60 markers for $17. So $3 cheaper and 5 times the amount of markers. So I will say that with TEMU, one thing about it is that the prices fluctuate pretty often. So it may be $17 a day, $15 tomorrow, or $30 next week. The prices fluctuate a lot, and I don't really know why. I guess it's just because they're trying to figure out what price point sells the most. I don't know, or maybe it's just part of the FOMO gimmick that TEMU has. But this isn't a commentary video on TEMU. There's plenty of those out there. So they do come in different quantities. I think the lowest quantity you can get is 12 or 24, and then the highest quantity you can get is 60. And these are dual-ended markers. They have a brush nib and a fine tip pen. They come in these acrylic boxes, or like plastic boxes. I guess it's not really acrylic, but it comes in these plastic boxes with the little latches and a carrying handle. The boxes do hold up pretty well. Close pretty securely. So here are all of the beautiful colors that we have. This one's really catching my eye. So they do have, actually no. I thought that this was a color number, but it's not. It's just something else. These are Marie's brand. They do not have any kind of name or color number on them. So you don't have that to go off of, but you have the fine tip, bullet, and then you have the paint tip, which the paint nib is what I always use. So really my only gripe that I found with these so far is that there's like a little grid in here in this box. If I remove the markers you can see it, and sometimes it's annoying to figure out which slot or like where that slot is to put them back in. But other than that, like as far as the quality goes, I haven't really had any problems with the first batch that I got. But now I'm going to go ahead and start swatching them so that I can show you all the colors. I do think color names would be pretty beneficial, but like the Sharpie ones, which is going to be the main thing that I'm referencing to, because the only other brand that I have is the Caran d'Ache Pigment Deco brush pens, which these are extremely similar to the Sharpie pens, and I already did a comparison of the two in my Sharpie video. And I know that these are kind of like a luxury brand, so I'm not going to really compare them to these. I'm going to compare them to these because these are more accessible and cheaper. Anyways, so I'm going to start swatching all the colors. The paper that I'm using is Bristol paper. Lay down pretty smoothly. Some of them you can see like the lines and stuff, and it's not as smooth. But I think it's a pretty good color range. Some of them are a lot more smooth and solid laying than other ones. Other ones are a little more grainy and just not as smooth. And I will say that when you really work it into the paper, it can sometimes eat up the paper. But like, this is a Sharpie pen and it will do the same thing. So any kind of paint pen, it looks like, will eat up the paper at a certain point. These can be used on pretty much any type of surface. Hello, now we are at the drawing and voiceover part of this video. So I am drawing a vintage heart cake because it's nice and simple and very cute, and something that I've been really into drawing here lately. I do have a notebook that has different vintage heart designs on it, so I'm using that as reference for this. So I am starting off with some blue colors. This top blue is a little bit streaky, but then I go in with a second coat and that smooths it out a whole lot more. These have kind of a watery consistency, I would say. They're kind of similar to a water-based marker, but they're a lot more opaque, and you can work it into the paper a little bit more before it starts eating up the paper, unlike water-based markers. I think that there's a very good range of colors in this, and I had a lot of fun working on this illustration just as a little doodle. Like I said, have been really into making vintage cake paintings with whipped paint so that it looks like actual whipped cream around the cake. And I want to make a video on making one of those eventually. I made 2 or 3 last year. That was kind of my niche last year, but this year I'm wanting to focus more on anime drawings and get back into making my manga and making more art. If you follow me on my Etsy account, Stan Studios, I am going to try and shift into more of an art direction this year instead of the crafting resin direction. I am still going to be bringing out new crafty things and physical objects more, but I also want to get into paintings and prints and things that focus more around my actual art, because that was the whole intention of starting a small business in the first place, and it was a goal of mine ever since I was around 16 years old. So I am pretty happy with how this little doodle came out. It took me maybe 20 minutes or so to draw out and color, so it was just a nice little thing to wind down to after a day at work. And I am trying to get back into the habit of drawing every day because, like I said, I'm wanting to work on my manga, and there is a lot of stuff that I need to practice actually drawing, because I came up with my manga concept when I was 16, and then I am 23 now, so I took about a 7-year gap in between when I first came up with the concept and now when I am actually trying to flesh it out and create it into an actual tangible manga. So I have a lot of catching up to do as far as art goes, techniques, skills, practice, that kind of thing, because like I mentioned, I've kind of shifted more to a crafting side of art in the recent years rather than traditional painting, drawing, illustration like what I did before. Here I'm just doing the cherries. I absolutely love a nice red color. That's always a very important color in pretty much every illustration that I do and every art supply that I buy. The color red is usually the one that I focus the most on. And this set does come with a white marker, so I use that for the highlights on the cherries. Here I am just filling in the gaps that I had missed whenever I first colored this in, and adding shadows to the cherries. I forgot to add that stem. I think that the colors for this cake is kind of weird, but I was using the notebook as reference, so I just used the same colors as the notebook. really hope that you enjoyed this video. I do want to start making more art related content. I am going to be coming out with more videos, testing more affordable art supplies from Five Below and TEMU. And then I also want to make a video on my favorite art supplies and art tips and that kind of thing going forward. I am just kind of wanting to go in a art direction. Of course, my collections is still going to be a major part of my channel because that is also a major part of my life. So don't worry about that. I'll be sprinkling some of that in with my new art direction that I'm wanting to go in. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it and that it gave you some information on this product and maybe some information on paint pens in general. It's a medium that I've recently started to get into, so I'm still trying to get used to it and learn all the techniques with it, but I'm having a pretty good time learning and having fun with it as I go. Again, thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing and I will see you in my next video. Bye!